Good morning, everybody. Sunday, November 30th. Welcome to NASR on this football Sunday, November 30th, 2025. This is Billy DiNapoli. And again, you are watching the North American Sports Report live on Billy DiNapoli Facebook, our YouTube channel, North American Sports Report, and reposted immediately on North American Sports Report Facebook. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, North American Sports Report, and follow us at Billy DiNapoli and on North American Sports Report Facebook. Good morning, guys. We're going to go over a crazy day in college football yesterday and get to all our NFL stuff that we got today, our picks, etc. First, we'll go over storylines in the college football world. If you were a Miami Hurricanes backer yesterday, you saw the Canes take care of their business. And listen, they crushed Pittsburgh, dominated, looked excellent. Malachi Tony is the most exciting player in college football, definitely the number one freshman. Listen, the Canes were outstanding yesterday, but unfortunately, they did not get the help that they needed. Miami right now, and I know this pains my Hurricane fan followers, but my Hurricane fam, my Canes fam, but right now the Canes are going to need either Alabama, or they're going to need both Alabama and BYU to lose their conference championship games next week to have a chance to get in. And I know you guys are burned up over the fact that Notre Dame is ahead of us because, you know, we beat Notre Dame. And so Notre Dame went 10-0 down the stretch, and we lost 2 games to 8-4 teams that we should have never lost to. I know they were ranked at the time, but SMU and Louisville, we were way better than. The Canes in those 2 games combined committed 12 penalties in one of the games for 100 yards and 8 penalties for 90 yards in the other game. I'm sorry, 9 penalties for 84 yards in the other game. So 21 penalties in those 2 games and 6 turnovers. That's what you have to look at. Notre Dame's losses were against Texas A&M and us, 2 teams at the time that were top 10. Texas A&M is still top 10 team. Even after their loss this week, they were 3rd ranked. So Notre Dame doesn't have any bad losses, and they've won 10 in a row. It's how you're playing going in. It's not sometimes what happens early in the season. I know a lot of Cane fans are in an uproar over that. They're also in an uproar that Duke is actually going to be in the ACC title game against Virginia. Duke, that's only 7-5. We didn't play Duke. Duke is 6-2. We're 6-2 in the conference. It was a point scored against the like opponent tiebreaker. Honestly, they should change that because the tiebreaker should be the team with the best record overall, and that probably will happen next year. You watch. But it's not going to help us this year. There's no ACC title game for the Canes next week. They have to sit, watch, and hope. And honestly, Alabama has beaten Georgia for the last 4 meetings in SEC title games. And even if Alabama were to lose, I wouldn't put it past the committee to put a 10-3 Alabama team based on strength of schedule in over us. So I would say your chances went from probably around 40% to 5%. Because even if both those teams lose, unless Alabama gets thumped, I still think BYU won't go if they lose to Texas Tech again. If they lose their conference title game, their strength of schedule, 2 losses, I think Miami would get in over them. But Bama, I'm not sure. We definitely need them to lose to find out. But we definitely did not get the help that we needed yesterday, and it was close. Again, Oklahoma looked like crap on offense. They trailed late. They were down 13-10. I mean, the LSU coach, the interim head coach, he's clueless. I mean, their play calling was pathetic. They played ultra-conservative. They had the lead and they had a 13-10 lead in the 4th quarter and the ball. Get a couple first downs. They could have grinded the game out. They couldn't do it. Then there's a broken play where they leave a wide. They're blitzing on every damn play when all they have to do is play base defense, and it's been frustrating Oklahoma all day. They decide to blitz on every damn down on that final series, and they find a guy wide open for a bomb touchdown. I think it was like I think it was a 55, 60-yard bomb for a touchdown. and there was nobody within the area code of this wide receiver, and that's how Oklahoma wins the game 17-13 when they trailed 13-10 in the fourth quarter. That was a killer for the Canes. The other killer was the Iron Bowl last night as Auburn defeated Alabama. Alabama defeated Auburn 27-20, and early on, Alabama looked like they were in postseason form. They were up 17-0. They were dominating. Ty Simpson's looking great. He's making plays with his feet, with his arm. And to pour salt in the wound, former Miami Hurricane wide receiver Isaiah Horton, who is an NFL prospect for sure at the top rounds next season, he scores 3 touchdowns, 3 TD receptions. Listen, they gave him more NIL money. I don't know how we let him get away. We definitely, in Miami, we're not short of wide receivers this year. But Isaiah Horton scores 3 touchdowns, 2 in the first half. They're up 17-0. Auburn adds a couple of field goals. It's 17-6 at half. You're thinking, okay. Then Auburn hits the big play, the bomb down the right sideline. It's 17-13. Before you know it, it was 20-20, and Auburn was making some big plays during the game. And Alabama goes for it on 4th down instead of kicking a field goal late, converts the 3rd Isaiah Horton touchdown reception, 27-20. Auburn comes down. They're driving. They're in Miami territory. Oh, gotta turn this off. And what happens? Auburn has a 4th and 2 that they cannot convert, and that was that. They get stopped in Bama territory late in the game, and that was the end of it. And that was the best shot that the Canes had. And I'm going to tell you something. Oklahoma was beaten in that game. They're a 10-2 team, and they're automatically in. They played like garbage most of the game on offense. I know Mateer threw for over 300 yards, but he threw 3 picks, 2 touchdowns, and their offense is not good. But yet they're going to be in the college football playoff with 10 wins in the SEC, 10-2. And they were ripe to be beaten, as was Alabama. Alabama got a couple of calls that went their way, but that happens. But listen, the 4th down play was right there for Auburn to stop them. They scored the touchdown, the pass to Horton from Simpson, and then Auburn was there. They were driving. They were driving late, and a drop pass, a failure to convert on 4th and 2 ended the game for Auburn, and it was painful for Hurricane fans that watched. It was painful for the Hurricane fans that were rooting because you came so close to getting things to go your way. Obviously, BYU romped over UCF, even though Central Florida was up 14 points early. They were up 14-0, and so you're thinking, hey, we got a shot. But listen, it didn't materialize, and it's very disappointing for the Miami Hurricanes, who have won 10 games 2 years in a row. They're 20-4 in the regular season over the last 2 seasons. It's the first time that's happened since 2004 and 2005. And right now, unless some things go your way next weekend, you're going to be looking at another trip to the Champs Sports Bowl or the Pop-Tart Bowl or the Pinstripe Bowl or the Cheetos Bowl. Or very disappointing. I mean, Ty Simpson threw for 3 touchdowns, but he was 19-35 for 122. They only had 270 yards of total offense, did Alabama. They were ripe to be beaten. Isaiah Horton scored 3 touchdowns, but he only had 5 catches for 35 yards. I mean, Auburn had so many chances to win that game, as did LSU. So many chances to close that game out against Oklahoma, but it didn't happen. This is what happens, my Canes fam, when you have to root for other teams to win. And it's very unfortunate, but listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. You only have yourselves to blame. I know Louisville and SMU, they're not terrible teams, but they're 8-4. They're going to finish unranked. And when you have 21 penalties, they had 12 penalties for 100 yards against SMU. That's the only reason why that game even went to overtime. SMU had 23 total rushing yards in the whole game. And the Louisville game, they had nine penalties for 84 yards. Of course, that was Carson's one awful game. Carson had one bad game all year. He's been fantastic. 25 touchdowns, 10 picks, 75% completion. I mean, Carson Beck has had a great year, but he had one bad game. And I don't want to hear about his interception against SMU. Malachi Tony has been a godsend. He's the best freshman in the country. But on that interception, first of all, we should have never been in overtime. But on that interception, one of the few mistakes he made, he was supposed to run a skinny, and he ran a post. And Carson threw it to the skinny. It was supposed to be a post, and he threw a pick. But the game should have never been in overtime. We also got the Lightfoot roughing the passer call, which was, Lightfoot tried to hold him up. That was a blown call, which gave SMU the penalty that got them the final first down that led to the tying touchdown. And listen, is what it is. I'm sorry, led to the tying field goal. But that penalty would have ended the game. It was on a fourth down, and a lot of Miami fans are crying about that. Oh, the ACC officiating. But you had 12 penalties in the game. That was just one of them. And yes, that was a bad call. If that call went the right way and they didn't call the roughing the passer on that play on Lightfoot, the Canes are 11-1 and they're in the ACC title game and they're in the playoff right now. But that's how it goes sometimes. You can't leave it in the hands of the officials, and you have to take care of business against teams that you are way better than. So for the Miami fans bitching today about Duke in the ACC title game and bitching about they should be ahead of Notre Dame, you have no one to blame but yourselves. Ourselves, the team. You have no one to blame. That's just the way it is. You can't lose to two lesser teams. Notre Dame doesn't have losses like that on their resume, and that's the bottom line. Those two losses, all those miscues, penalties, mistakes in those games is what's going to end up, sending us to the Champs Sports Bowl instead of the college football playoff. Now, all hope is not lost. You still can hope that. I think BYU will get spanked by Texas Tech next week, and I don't know about the Bama game. I think if they get 3 losses, there's a chance we could get in, but there's also a chance they could take them. Our chances went from about 39% on Saturday to about 5%. 5%. So it's not looking great. But anyway, that is the story in college football, guys. Those were the main storylines. I have heard that they haven't announced it yet, but I did hear that Lane Kiffin is going to leave Ole Miss for LSU, and he's going to take the big money contract, which I hear is $120 million over, I think it was 9 years. I'm not sure yet. I don't have the exacts on that. But I heard the contract was $120 million. He's supposed to meet with the team this morning. Let's actually see if that is official. Let's get that. We can get that right now. Let's look that up, because before we announce it, let's see. Nothing yet. He was supposed to meet the team today at 9 o'clock this morning, and there is no official announcement. SportsWire is saying that he is going to accept the LSU job, and that means he will not coach Ole Miss in the college football playoffs, but there has been no official announcement as of yet, so we'll stay away from that. Georgia beat Georgia Tech 16-9 yesterday. The Bulldogs are in the SEC championship game. They did lose their center in that game, and if you know football, you lose your center. He calls all the audibles on the offensive line and all the sets, so that's a big deal. Indiana 56-3 over Purdue as expected. Texas defeated Texas A&M 27-17. I didn't think that was going to help the Canes because I was fearful that Texas could go from 16 to in the top 12, but I think with 3 losses, I think Texas will still be on the outside looking in. Ohio State defeats Michigan. Michigan's chances of getting to the Big Ten title game are now over with. 27-9. Ohio State, Julian Sand with 3 touchdown passes. His superstar receivers, Tate and Smith, had 1 each. And he was just fantastic in the game. 233 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks with his big-time NFL wide receivers who did all play. And they played a little banged up, but they all played excellent. Ohio State 27-9 over Michigan. Not that this matters, but it's always nice to see Deion Sanders go 3-9 with his Colorado Buffaloes. Basically 2 out of 3 years. his team has sucked, so we could all ease up on how great Coach Prime is. Kansas State over Colorado 24-14. Clemson finishes their season on an up note. They will be going to a bowl game 7-5. They finished 7-5 as they defeat Clemson 28-14. The aforementioned Miami Hurricanes 38-7 over Pittsburgh. That's Miami's fourth victory over a ranked team on the season. I'll get the numbers on the Canes right now. I got to tell you what, it is very disappointing for Miami fans. I know you're hurting, but there's nobody to blame but ourselves, guys. There's nobody to blame but ourselves because, all you had to do was, you can even take Louisville and SMU, just win one of those. And those are games that you were double-digit favorites. You were double-digit favorites. One game you were a 17-point favorite over. You were a 17-point favorite over Louisville, and I'm not sure, it might not have been, but you were at least a 9-point favorite over SMU. It might have been 10, and that was on the road. So you were a considerable favorite, and it is a shame. Yesterday, Carson Beck, another stellar game, 23 of 29. This kid his completion ratio has been off the chart. 267, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Tony even threw a touchdown pass. The freshman, Gerard Pringle, 10 carries for 82 yards. Fletcher, 10 for 35. The Canes ran the ball. They threw the ball. Even Tony had 5 carries for 30 yards. Malachi Tony, 13 receptions for 126 yards and a touchdown. What can you say about this kid? And listen, Ruben Bain had 2 sacks. Mesidor had a sack. The Canes' defensive line was beastly. Those 2 guys are both going to be in the NFL next season as they'll be leaving, and they'll be first-round draft picks. Mesidor has had some injury problems, and he is 25 years old. He's been in college 6 years. I could see him maybe dropping to the second round, but Bain is a first-round blue chip pick in the NFL next year. You'll be seeing both those guys play in the NFL. Other games of note that mattered. I think that's pretty much it. BYU beat UCF 41-21. We went over Ohio State beating Michigan. We went over Miami beating Pitt. We went over the Iron Bowl with Auburn losing to Oklahoma. Auburn losing to Alabama 27-20 in the usual tightly contested Iron Bowl. We went over Ole Miss winning the Egg Bowl against Mississippi State, which was Friday. And we went over LSU losing to Oklahoma in a game the Canes really needed, 17-13. Oklahoma gets the win there. Oregon, another game where if Oregon lost, they could have dropped and maybe been in the conversation for Miami to trump them. But no, Oregon finishes 11-1, 26-14. They're also on their way to the college playoff. And, of course, Duke beat Wake Forest 49-32. If Duke had lost that game and Virginia had lost their game, Miami could have found their way into the ACC title game. That didn't happen. Penn State becomes bowl eligible, going 6-6, defeating Rutgers 40-36, who they fall to 5-7, and they are not bowl eligible. TCU finishes 8-4, defeating Cincinnati 45-23. Again, Duke defeating Wake Forest 49-32. The Duke offense explosive. They've got an NFL quarterback. Listen, I know Cane fans today were chirping on their side about how is it that Manny Diaz, our former coach, is actually getting to an ACC championship game before Mario Cristobal. Well, Mensah, their quarterback, threw for 2 touchdowns and 268 yards, and that was a good recruitment by Manny getting Mensah because got to see one thing. Mensah has been outstanding for Duke. Their offense has not been the problem. They have a porous defense, and that's what really hurt them most of the year in their losses. I know it's a bitter pill seeing a 7-5 team possibly going to the if they win the ACC title game, they're in. And then listen, I know I've seen people on social media thinking that, oh wait, if we're ranked higher, they won't take the conference champion of the ACC if Duke wins. We'll go instead of them. That is bullshit. I don't know where you guys are getting that. You obviously don't know what you're talking about. The ACC champion is going to get an automatic bid. they're going to get an automatic bid. So if Duke beats Virginia, they are going. And like it or not, 8-5, Duke will be in the conference championship game, in the college football playoff. 8-5 Duke, who will be unranked, will make it to the college football playoff if they win the ACC championship game. That's just how it goes. Vanderbilt defeated, and also the Power 5 team will get the auto bid, and that's looking like Tulane or North Texas. We'll see. Got to see what happens next weekend. Vanderbilt defeats Tennessee 45-24. Vanderbilt finishes 10-2. They are still low on the outside looking in. Tennessee finishes 8-4. We went over Oklahoma LSU. Florida defeats Florida State 40-21, 4-8 and 5-7 Florida State. But still, Florida State lost all the games to their Florida rivals. They lost to Miami and they lost to Florida. Let's see, games of note. And the game of note, Virginia advancing to the ACC title game to play Duke, defeating Virginia Tech 27-7. That's how that went. Tulane defeats Charlotte 27-0. They'll be playing in their conference championship game. Alabama, as we went over, defeats Auburn. Last night, USC defeats UCLA in the Southern Cal battle of the rivalry. USC had a good season. They finished 9-3. They're in the top 20. They may end up in the top 15. They were 17. They're not going to make the playoffs. Bill Belichick's miserable season ended as NC State thumped North Carolina 42-10. SMU out of the ACC championship game by allowing California to come down 31-35. SMU was trailing most of the game. They took the lead late in the fourth quarter, up 35-31. They let Cal drive down the field to score a touchdown in the waning moments and defeat SMU 38-31. SMU is knocked out of the top 25 and knocked out of the ACC championship game, finishing 8-4. That's a bitter pill to swallow. That also doesn't help the Canes, them losing since we lost to them head-to-head. UNLV finishes 10-2, 42-17 over Nevada. Notre Dame took care of their business, thumping Stanford as I told you they would, 49-20. And that's it. That's the college football wrap-up. For my Canes fan, we are where we are. You're going to need help next week to get in. The committee's not going to vote us in over BYU or over Oklahoma, even though they looked porous. Teams that were 8th and 9th ranked are not dropping 3-4 spots because you don't think that they look good. It's not happening. They won. Okay, Notre Dame didn't cover the spread, which was 33, but they won by 29, and they were up 35-3, and then they started to lay off. Yesterday in my picks, excuse me, I did go 2-0-1. I had the Alabama-Vandy teaser. I had the Virginia-Alabama teaser. I had Ohio State and Iowa State in a teaser. Now, originally the line was 13.5, but the Iowa State line went down to 13, and that did actually push. So if you had Iowa State with the teaser in 6 points, it was -7, and that pushed because Iowa State won by 7. So I went 2-0-1 yesterday in my picks. I am now 27-26-2 in college. Actually, finally got back to over 500. 27-26-2. We also gave you on Friday. We gave you a Utah North Texas teaser. We gave you a Georgia North Texas and Utah 3-team teaser, and we gave you the Memphis Tigers straight, and they lost. So overall on the week in college ball, we went 4-1-1. 4-1-1, and got ourselves back to over the 500 mark. 27-26-2 in college ball. We are 43-44-1 in the NFL, and we're going to try to get ourselves over the hump there. So let's move to the NFL and go over the games that we have in the NFL. We have an exciting Sunday of NFL action. Honestly, I'm not lying. For me, it's going to be good to decompress because watching all these possibilities, watching all these possibilities for the Canes, they really stress me out. I'm not going to lie. Not going to lie. You guys know I bleed orange and green, and I try to stay impartial on all things. You guys know you guys know that I love my hockey, I love my Islanders, but my family and I were part-time South Florida residents, so we swing with the Panthers and a lot of the Florida teams too, but I've been a Canes fan since I was a child, so I try to keep things impartial here, but I know it's obvious I bleed a little orange and green, so I needed to just decompress and get away from it, and I'm happy to do that with NFL Sunday and just focus on the NFL today and take a break, and I'll just see what happens next weekend with the college and the Canes. So, okay, 43, 44, and 1. We're going to try to jump back over 500 like we did in college this week. Starting with the Texans visiting the Colts. The Colts are a 3-point favorite over the Texans. The Colts, the Colts haven't looked stellar the last 2 weeks, coming off a tough loss. C.J. Stroud will return for the Houston Texans today, who are a 3-point underdog in Indianapolis. I'm going to tell you right now, I thought the Texans played good with Davis Mills. Obviously, they're not going to sit their franchise quarterback, but I wonder how sharp C.J. Stroud will be after being on the bench for 3 weeks. And I am actually picking the Colts today straight, -3 over Houston. Houston has a good defense. They're 6-5. They're rising. I think they would be the hot pick today, honestly. But I'm going to say that the Colts rise at home and get back on track, at least for this week. The Buccaneers, they are hosting the Arizona Cardinals. The Buccaneers are 6-5, and they have been struggling. They've lost 5 out of 6 games. They have also been hampered with injuries, but they will have Godwin in the lineup, who returned a couple weeks ago. Baker will play, as his shoulder injury was not serious as originally feared, and they will also get Bucky Irvin back. They're supposed to get Hassan Reddick back today. The Buccaneers will be healthier than they've been in a while, and I like the Buccaneers over the Cardinals today. I'm taking the Bucs straight, -3.5. Bucs and Colts. Those are my first two. The Jaguars, as we have the Raider theme now in the background. The Jaguars at the Tennessee Titans. The Titans at 1-10, having a miserable year, in line for the first pick in the draft. I will say Cam Ward is starting to play better. Cam threw for 260 yards and a touchdown and no picks last week. He also ran for another 53 yards and a touchdown. Cam has played probably his best game of the season last week. They are a 6-point underdog at home to Jacksonville. We will get back to that one. The Rams, who I picked as my NFC #1 team before the season started. They are my Super Bowl pick. They travel to Carolina to play the 6-6 Panthers. The Rams are 9-2. The Rams are a 10-point favorite over the Panthers. The New Orleans Saints travel to Hard Rock to play the 4-7 Miami Dolphins, the 2-9 Saints. The Dolphins, who are have won 3 in a row and played better, and are at home against the Saints. I actually like the Dolphins today straight, -5.5. The 3 straight picks so far: Colts, Bucs, Dolphins. The Falcons traveling to MetLife to play the Jets, who are 2-9. The Falcons are a 3-point favorite. The Falcons will have Kirk Cousins at QB, as we know, because Penix is out for the season. These are all 1 o'clock starts, by the way. The other 1 o'clock start, the 49ers with Brock Purdy, who has returned and has not played well last week. He looked terrible, actually. He threw 3 picks. They are at Cleveland. Well, Shedeur Sanders will get his second start. The 3-8 Browns against the 8-4 Niners. The Niners are a 5.5-point favorite. We'll get back to that one. The weather is going to be cold, mixture of snow and sleet and rain and all that bad weather stuff in Cleveland is going to rear its ugly head today. We'll see how the Niners deal with that. The Vikings, the struggling Vikings, who I hear J.J. McCarthy is out of that game. They're playing their third string, their backup quarterback. Sam Brownser or something. Hold on. We got to get this guy's name. We got to get his name, because JJ is not playing. JJ is not playing. Give me 1 second, guys. I always forget this guy's name. Listen, JJ has played awful for the Minnesota Vikings, so I don't even know how much this is going to matter that, he's not playing. I definitely like Seattle here. Let's see here. Let's see here. Who is playing quarterback for the Vikings today? Oh, gee whiz. Oh, let's see here. I still can't find this guy. I need my readers. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, fam. I'll find who the Viking quarterback is today. Let's see. I mean, number 12, he's a rookie. I'm still not finding it. We'll get back to that. This is why I need a girl behind the glass, you know? This is why I need a girl behind the glass to hand me this information. So if you want to help me get that, you can always contribute to our show via Cash App or Venmo, and you guys can help us with the show because we do put a lot of time into this. And listen, any little bit helps, and I would appreciate any donations you want to make. You can scan the QR code on the Max Brosmer. Max Brosmer will start at quarterback for the Vikings today. Max Brosmer, the Seahawks are a 12.5-point favorite. Max Brosmer starts for Minnesota today. What a disaster for the Vikings. The Vikings are 4-7. The Seahawks are 8-3 after their loss last week. I'm sorry, they defeated Tennessee last week. They lost to the Rams 2 weeks prior in the game that Sam Darnold threw 4 picks, but they looked much better. Jackson Smith-Njigba is possibly the best wide receiver in the league. Statistically, he is. George Pickens is in the conversation now, too, for the Cowboys. Seahawks at 8-3, hosting the Vikings, who are 4-7, and they are a 12.5-point favorite in other games. And that is the first 4:05 start. The other 4:25 start is the Buffalo Bills at the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Bills are -3. They are the favorite, -3, and the Steelers will have Aaron Rodgers back. The other 4:25 game is the hapless Las Vegas Raiders will be at Los Angeles playing the Chargers, who are 7-4. The Raiders are 2-9. The Chargers are a 10-point choice. That's it, guys. We only have 3 4 o'clock games because of all the games on Thanksgiving. The Sunday night game is the Denver Broncos, 9-2, traveling to Washington to play the Commanders, who are 3-8. It'll be Marcus Mariota again for the Commanders. All right, so let's get back to the picks. Sorry, it took me a minute to punch up the... Sorry, I didn't remember Max Brosmer. Max Brosmer. Oh my God, what a disaster. Let's look at Max Brosmer. Max Brosmer is a rookie. Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to waste any time on Max Brosmer. Let's get to the picks again. So we have given you the Bucks. We have given you the Bucks -3.5. We have given you the Dolphins -5.5. We have given you the Colts -3. So Colts, Bucks, and Dolphins straight. Those are our first 3 picks in the NFL. Oh, also, by the way, Giant fans, Jackson Dart will return as the Giants travel to Foxborough to play the Patriots on Monday Night Football. The Giants at the 10-2 Patriots, who have the best record in the league. Jackson Dart will be returning. Okay. So, today, I am also taking the Browns and the Seahawks in a teaser. This will make the Browns plus 11.5, and will bring the Seahawks down to from 12.5 to -6.5. We are taking the Browns and the Seahawks in a teaser. That is our 4th pick. That is our 4th pick today. And I think we're going to go for 5. We are taking the Tennessee Titans and the Rams in a teaser. That will make the Rams -4 at Carolina, and that will make the Titans +12 at home against Jacksonville. Rams -4, Tennessee +12. Those are our 5 picks in the NFL. Ravens Seahawks. Browns Seahawks teaser. Browns Seahawks teaser. Rams Titans teaser. Bucks straight. Dolphins straight. Colts straight. Those are 5. Feeling feisty? We feeling feisty? You know what? We are feeling feisty. We're going to give you one more. We're going to give you one more. Actually, you know what? We're going to give you Chargers. We're giving you the Chargers and Buffalo in a teaser. LA Chargers, Buffalo. This will take Buffalo from -3 to +3 at Pittsburgh. And the Chargers will be -4 instead of -10 over the Raiders. Chargers, Buffalo. We're trying to push past the 500 mark here. So Chargers, Buffalo, Browns, Seahawks, Rams, Titans. 3 teasers and 3 straight picks. Bucks, Dolphins, Colts. Bucks -3.5, Dolphins -5.5, Colts -3. Those are our 6. We gave you a 6-pack. A 6-pack in the NFL today. That's it, boys and girls. We're going to wrap this show up. It's been a very fun NFL Sunday show with a college recap. We hope you guys have a great Sunday watching football. Sunday fun day in the NFL. We'll be back tomorrow night at around 6:30 to wrap up the weekend in the NFL and give you a Monday Night Football preview. I know we haven't touched on any basketball and hockey in the last couple of days, but there's just been so much going on. We have to focus on the football. You guys have a great day. Thank you for watching the North American Sports Report. Again, please subscribe on YouTube. Please follow Billy DiNapoli on Facebook and Instagram and X, and also follow the North American Sports Report on Facebook.